Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back, dear students. It is wonderful to see you again for our second session. Yesterday, we discussed the course objectives, structure, and the basic idea of supply chains through examples. Today, inshallah, we will take our next step and our focus will be on sustainability in logistics and supply chain management. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to understand why sustainability matters for logistics and supply chains, and we will explain what we mean by sustainable logistics. And number 3, we will explain what we mean by a sustainable supply chain, and we will also identify the principles and practices that guide sustainability. Recognize these ideas through real-world examples, especially in our global context. So, the part 1 where we talk about why sustainability matters. For a long time, supply chains were judged mainly on cost, speed, and reliability. Companies asked, how fast can we deliver? How cheaply can we move products? But logistics and supply chain activities are not neutral. They affect our environment, our communities, and our economy. Trucks, ships, and planes burn fossil fuels, warehouses consume electricity, packaging creates piles of waste. The recent flood in Pakistan, in Punjab, destroyed roads, washed away crops, and cut off factories from raw materials. Companies like Nestle are struggling to collect milk from farmers, and Engro is facing difficulties in moving fertilizers. So, sustainability is not just a green idea, it is a business necessity. If supply chains do not adapt to environmental and social challenges, they risk collapse. And the part 2, what is sustainable logistics? According to our textbook, sustainable logistics means managing logistics activities in a way that reduces harm to the environment while still supporting economic performance. This means that transportation, warehousing, and distribution should be designed with 3 main goals in mind. Number 1, environmental responsibility, where less pollution, lower fossil fuel use, reduced waste should be in focus. Number 2, social responsibility, that have fair working conditions for drivers, warehouse staff, and delivery riders. Number 3, economic responsibility, keeping services affordable and competitive. Let's take an example. In Multan, you may have seen many delivery vehicles are moving toward electric motorbikes. This shift reduces carbon emissions, lower riders' fuel cost, which is a social economic factor, and helps companies improve their public image. Sustainable logistics, therefore, is not about doing less business. It is about doing business in smarter, fairer, and cleaner ways. So, what is sustainable supply chain? If logistics is one part of the supply chain, then a sustainable supply chain looks at the whole system from raw materials to end consumers, and a sustainable supply chain means choosing suppliers who respect labor rights and protect the environment, producing goods with minimal waste, clean energy, and efficient processes, distributing products in a way that reduce emissions and energy use, encouraging customers to recycle, reuse, and return products at the end of the life. For example, in Pakistan's textile exports, international buyers now demand proof of the fabrics that are made eco-friendly. For example, mills in Faisalabad that recycle water or use solar energy are more likely to win the contracts from Europe. So, sustainable supply chain management is not only ethical, it is also a competitive advantage. The importance of sustainability in supply chain includes consumer and investor demands. One reason for growing attention on supplier sustainability is that consumers are more aware of unethical practices that exist in supply chain, like child labor, forced labor and gender discrimination. As consumers become more informed, they may prefer to buy from companies that they know are managing the social and environmental impacts of their business decisions. Investors are also looking to make sustainable investments. They are aware of the reputational, operational, and financial risks of unsustainable practices, including when these are in companies. So, they may choose not to invest in these companies or offer less favorable terms of investment. Climate change and global disruption. Consumers are increasingly more educated on the negative environmental impacts of brands' supply chains. Global businesses have resources and influence that individual people don't. Consumers expect businesses to use these power to drive sustainable innovation and operations. Poor environmental practices have serious long-term impacts on ecosystem, but also have immediate impacts on people. Pollution and noise may have negative effects on the health of workers and the surrounding communities. Deforestation and environmental degradation can reduce the ability for communities to exist in their original locations, forcing people to migrate and building supply chain resilience. A more sustainable supply chain can also help improve supply chain resilience. For example, when workers face unsafe conditions, low wages, or insecure employment, this may affect their availability and ability to work effectively. Businesses with a high turnover of workers risk losing valuable skills and experience that help people to navigate disruptions. Increasing legislation. Many countries have introduced laws for sustainable supply chain, for sustainability, maintaining the sustainability of supply chain that require businesses to demonstrate and report on their supply chain. The UK's 2015 Modern Slavery Act established legal requirements for companies to identify, prevent, and mitigate modern slavery in their operations and supply chain. California's Transparency in Supply Chain Act in 2010 requires large companies to annually disclose their efforts to address modern slavery in their supply chains. Now, let's talk about some principles of sustainable logistics and supply chain. How do we move from ideas to action? Our textbook highlights eco-efficiency, creating more value with fewer resources. So here are 4 guiding practices. Number 1, reduce. Cut waste and inefficiency. Example, e-commerce platforms moving to right size packaging to reduce excess cardboard and plastic. Number 2 is reuse. Extend the life of materials and tools. Example, fruit exporters using reusable plastic crates instead of fragile wooden boxes. Number 3, recycle. Process materials back into the chain. For example, Coca-Cola in Pakistan running plastic bottle collection and recycling initiative. Number 4, rethink. Redesign supply chains for sustainability. For example, Bikeia exploring electric delivery bikes to reduce reliance on petrol. Together, these 4 R's make supply chains leaner, greener, and stronger. Now, if we talk about Pakistan, there are some practices. Let's bring this closer to home with some practical examples. Mango exports, which is popular in Pakistan. If we employ solar-powered cold storage in our storage houses, it helps preserve fruit quality, reducing waste and improving farmer incomes. And in textile industry, like some mills in Faisalabad use biogas and solar energy, reducing environmental impact and meeting buyers' demand. Urban logistics. Startups in Karachi or Lahore are piloting electric bikes and promoting reusable delivery bags. Packaging. Grocery chains like Metro and Imtiaz encourage shoppers to bring reusable bags instead of plastic ones. These examples show how that sustainability is not just a foreign concept. It is happening right here in Pakistan, in Multan, Lahore, and everywhere, and it is shaping how firms compete both locally and globally. So, dear students, let's recap what we have learned today. We saw why sustainability matters because supply chains both are impacted by the environment. We define sustainable logistics as operations that balance environmental, social, and economic goals. We also define sustainable supply chains as broader system designed to integrate sustainability from suppliers to consumers. And we explored the principles of eco-efficiency, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rethink. And we reviewed practical examples from Pakistan in mango exports, textiles, and urban deliveries, and packaging also. In our next lecture, inshallah, we will further define logistics and supply chain management and explain how their scopes differ. This will give us a clear understanding before we dive into sustainable strategies. Until then, keep observing the supply chains around you with a sustainability lens. Inshallah. Allah Hafiz.